What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. How you guys doing? Let me make sure everything is working properly because last week, oh my goodness, Mercury retrograde was in the house last week, let me tell you. Okay, so just in case this is working, I'm assuming it's working. My name is April and I'm with astrolada.com. And I am doing a weekly forecast for August 10th through August 17th of 2018. And I'm letting you guys know what the astrological weather is like. And also we go over some celebrity stuff, but we do that to kind of display how astrology works, you know, as kind of like a learning moment. Because celebrities, their lives are on display, right? We see all their events in life, the good and the bad, and you know, then when we look at their astrology charts, it's like, oh, okay, this is why this is going on, this is why this person is like this. So yeah, that's what we do here on Coffee Talk. How are you guys? Building up to this eclipse in Leo. Oh my gosh. So tomorrow, August 11th, we have an eclipse in Leo, and I will be going through how it affects every sign. But how are you guys feeling building up to the eclipse? Because you know what? The effects of the eclipses can be experienced and seen, I would say up to a month before the eclipse date. And also the days leading up to it can be like very intense, you know? And we're kind of like, we've been in the middle of an eclipse cycle because we already had an eclipse 2 weeks ago. And then we had one 2 weeks before that, and now we have another one. So a lot of people have been kind of wigging out a little bit, right? Kind of bugging. So yeah. Oh, well, happy anniversary. Hold on, let me put in my spectacles. Mellow Jivas. Happy anniversary to you guys. Oh, Chantel, you really struggled with sleep this past month of eclipses. I feel you on that. I feel you on that. You're not alone. A lot of people have. A lot of people have. Wish a Mother Woods. I love saying your name. What's up? Thanks for coming through. Okay, Mary asked, do you think the Saturn trine Uranus will bring us anything? Yes. Saturn and Uranus trine. Well, I'll talk more about it next week because that's when it'll be more of the closer aspect. It is building, but usually when it's going to be an exact aspect by degree is when I will report on it. But yeah, Saturn and Uranus trine. You know, one cool thing that I've already seen as soon as the trine started building up is what app was, oh, they said that Facebook, I think Facebook and Instagram, I want to say, but a couple of social media apps, the ones that people spend a lot of time on, they are going to start making some sort of a timer feature on it to where you can see how much time that you have spent on the app. And I'm like, so Saturn is father time, Uranus is technology. Very interesting. So now we can go back and see how much time we waste on social media apps. Some people, and you know, it's funny because Saturn is father time and it will check you on your use of time. So it really makes sense when we see that. But other than that, yeah, I think it'll bring some other things that I will elaborate on maybe next week. So yeah. Oh, I know. Mercury is still retrograde, you guys. Mercury is still retrograde. And it's in a conjunction with the eclipse because right now Mercury is conjunct the Sun in Leo. They're very close in degree. And that means that it's going to be close in degree and leave a little imprint on the eclipse too. Mercury retrograde is definitely going to be part of it. Okay. So, but I'll go into more detail on that in a little bit too. But yeah, we also have Venus square Saturn. Last week, oh my gosh, I apologize because I had issues with my laptop with the internet cutting in and out. And Mercury's retrograde in my 10th house of public image and career and presenting myself to the public. So Of course, Mercury had to be a hater when I'm like presenting myself to the public. So hopefully that doesn't happen today. But I was trying to explain Venus and Saturn square. And today, actually, which is August 10th, it is exact. It's exact today. And let me tell you, myself and people around me that I know personally that have expressed, that we talk on a regular basis that have expressed things to me. I'm like, yeah, that's definitely Venus and Saturn square. I've heard of people, people kind of bugging out a little bit about their finances. And Saturn is an energy, especially in Capricorn. Capricorn is an earth sign. The earth signs of mostly Capricorn and Taurus are associated with finance. So Saturn in Capricorn has been sending this aspect to little Venus and Libra. Venus and Libra, she just wants to be all innocent and fun and cute, and she just wants to spend money and enjoy herself and look pretty. But Saturn is telling her, no, you can't. No, you can't. You can't enjoy yourself. You can't just be free, Venus, to just skip around and throwing money in the air and buying purses and shoes and stuff. So, and I'm not saying literally that's what everybody's trying to do, but it's just, like a little metaphor, like a little animated example. And so a lot of people are kind of feeling that like stress about money, because Venus can rule money and the things that we use money for to buy that we enjoy. So because of that, yeah, I've had people expressing things to me like, oh my gosh, like finances are so tight right now that I can't even buy the things I want to buy. I can't go out to lunch with my friends. I can't buy little, people have been complaining about that. And also some people have been taking it and flipping it though, because yes, a square is a sucky aspect, but some people, like a square, it causes you to be uncomfortable. And for some people, they wallow in discomfort and complain, right? But for some people, they get uncomfortable and that makes them get up and bust a move, They get up and they're like, you know what can I do to make myself comfortable again? Because I can't stand this feeling. I can't stand not having money or whatever. So a friend of mine that was kind of expressing the financial stuff to me, they messaged me later and they're like, you know what? I have a plan. I'm going to do this, this, and this. I'm going to create something. And Venus is a creative energy. We have a lot of Leo in the air that's very creative too. So I'm going to create something that will generate some income. So they flip the square to make it like work for them, because Saturn can apply pressure. And a square is Saturn applying pressure in like this way that makes you kind of, it doesn't feel that great. So what are you going to do with that? So that's exactly what they did. So I'm like, this is cool. And then Saturn trine Uranus. Uranus's ideas, like coming up with ideas on the spot, like in sudden insights into things, and Saturn is hard work and business. So that's how they were flipping it. And I'm like, you know what? That's pretty cool. I'm going to take some mental notes. Okay. And then I'm going to let my peoples know here on Coffee Talk that's ways that you can maneuver the energy that's being given to you right now. It's not just like, oh, Venus square Saturn and it sucks. Okay, moving on. There's like a remedy to it. There's other things you can do with that energy. Okay. All right. So yeah, Venus and Saturn square, that can be something that Saturn is a drying influence. It can kind of dry things up that it touches. And when it touches Venus, an aspect, especially an uncomfortable aspect like a square, a lot of people are feeling like their love life is dry. Like I saw some posts about, people complaining, my phone is so dry. Nobody's contacting me, and it's like single friends of mine. And I'm like, just wait for this square to kind of, dissipate, kind of fade away in the next like week or so. And then maybe then, people won't feel so dry in the love department, because maybe other people are feeling like that too. Venus in Libra is Venus in one of his home signs, and Venus rules love. Libra energy loves love, loves being in love, and loves romance. But this square to Saturn though is not romantic at all. Let me tell you, it's just feeling like, like it's an icky feeling, And it's crazy because my husband and I, our anniversary was this past week, and we went out and everything, did a little stuff to celebrate. but it still felt like a little bit of a dry feeling, you know, in the air. The energy felt like that. I still kept my goofy, like trying to liven things up, but I noticed that though, and I knew that Venus was square Saturn, so I wasn't like freaking out about it, like, oh my God, this means it's over and everything. It's just like that lovey-dovey mood, you know, and enjoy the company of another person right now. So anyhow, if you guys are going through anything like that, please share so we all know like that we're not alone, and that, you know, this too shall pass. As with all of the planetary transits, they show us that this too shall pass. It doesn't last forever, right? So yeah. Oh, what's up, Kimara? Thanks for coming through, and thank you so much. Thank you. Happy Friday to you too. Oh, Friday. Oh yeah. Cool. Okay. So that's the energies that we're still working with right now. And then this coming week, you know, the most major things are the eclipse in Leo, which is on August 11th. And like I said, I'll go through every sign for that. And then Mars goes retrograde back into Capricorn on August 12th. Mars has been retrograde for a hot minute. It's been in the sign of Aquarius since May. Usually Mars doesn't stay in the sign that long, but when it goes retrograde back and forth, we have a long period of time. Mars is going to be in Aquarius, I think, until September or November. And it started in May, so that's a long time for us to have Mars in Aquarius. So Mars is now going back into Capricorn, where it was, you know, like before mid-May. And so if you have had any like Mars issues or Mars dealings in Capricorn, like, you know, before, if you had any before, then there could be things that are brought back again. Oh my God, this Mercury retrograde is killing me, you guys. Hold on, I'm gonna take a drink, because I've been like fumbling all my words when I'm recording readings or recording videos, and I'm like, I can't stand it. Okay, just give me a sec. Oh, and the cup I have today is my Boss Lady cup. I'm sure a lot of you who have been watching me a long time have already seen my Boss Lady cup. And I have it because the moon is in Leo. We're having an eclipse in Leo. Leo is a very bossy sign. You guys know the song I'm Bossy by Khalees? Mean Leo. Oh, woman, oh my gosh. She has the mane, and she's very loud and everything. Like, she is uber Leo. She looks like a lion. You know what I'm saying? So bossy, yes. So got the boss cup. Okay. Anyhow, just give me one sec. Okay, I was talking about Mars going retrograde back into Capricorn, okay? So Mars in Capricorn, let's like that, give like more, you know, accurate time frames of things, as accurate as possible. Okay. Mars entered Capricorn, looks like in March of 2018. Okay, so it entered Capricorn in March. It was in the later degrees of Capricorn that it's going to be retrograding back to, like in mid-May. Yeah, like in mid-May, like May like 10th, up until like May. What is that? Hold on, let me put on my spectacles here and investigate. Up until like May the 16th. Okay. So during that time period, if you were dealing with anything, you were like super motivated, which Mars can rule motivation, especially physical motivation and drive and action that you want to apply towards things, towards wherever Capricorn is in your chart. Or if you had any like things that were aggravating that were going on, because Mars could be an aggravating influence too, wherever Capricorn is in your chart. Maybe there could be some things that are revisited when Mars is retrograde in that sign. So yeah, Mars is retrograde in Cappy. It goes back on August 12th into Capricorn, and it goes direct back in the later degrees of Capricorn, like on the 27th of August. and then it'll stay there until it goes back into Aquarius, like around the 10th of September. So we have from August 12th until around like September 10th, revisiting Capricorn matters, wherever that is in our chart, and how we take action, how we initiate things. If you are a Capricorn, maybe it can be you getting another boost in your energy levels, or it could be, well, with the retrograde though, it won't really be that. It'll probably be more aggravation, or like it's more internalized to where you're maybe like irritated at things, or there's things that you want to change and you're like frustrated a little bit. And maybe, well, and you have to, of course, watch the actions that you direct out of Mars. Could be like a boomerang right back at you. Yeah, if you're a Capricorn especially, you need to make sure you watch that during the retrograde. Well, what's over the next like 2 weeks or so. And then after that, I'll be proceeding forward with maybe correcting some things, getting some things right again in the area of your chart that Capricorn rules. And then Capricorns, yeah, maybe you'll have another little boost of energy, like, you know, for like a couple of weeks once it moves direct in Capricorn. So yeah, Mars back into Cappy and then back into Aquarius, you know, in mid-September until like the beginning of November. Okay. So let me go back. Okay, it looks like the broadcast is still going in and out. My apologies, you guys. I mean, my internet connection is what it is. I can't really change it right now. So my apologies. But anyhow, so that's mostly the most major things that are going on this coming week. So let's talk about the Leo eclipse, shall we? Okay, so August 11th. It'll be in the wee hours of the morning, depending upon where you're at. I think maybe it could be in the evening time tonight on August 10th. If you're like maybe somewhere in the eastern part of the world, it could be. Let me go see what the time is of the eclipse once again. Okay, on the ephemeris that I'm using on Cafe Astrology, it says that the eclipse is at 5:58 a.m. That's Eastern time in the U.S. And so Pacific time in the U.S., that's like just before 3 a.m. Yeah, it's just before 3 a.m. It's just before 6 a.m. on the East Coast of the U.S. So it's probably going to be like in the middle of the night if you live in maybe Europe or something, okay? So that's the time of the eclipse in Leo. And it is in a conjunction with Mercury, which is in retrograde, and it's in a square to Jupiter in Scorpio. So that means both Mercury and the sun and the moon are all making a square to Jupiter. So here's the thing, okay? Jupiter is about being extravagant, like larger than life, huge, overdoing things, overestimating things, overcalculating. What's the word I'm looking for? Overeating, overdrinking, oversleeping, over. Like anything that you can do in excess is Jupiter. And then when we have this square to all this stuff in Leo, well, Leo can also be pretty extravagant in itself too. You know, Leo in itself is all about doing it big in their own way. That energy is like that. It's all about it's a very, what's the word I'm looking for? I am so lost for words, you guys, because of all this Mercury stuff. I'm sorry. But it's Leo is very regal. And it is about doing things more extravagant because they like the best of the best, right? Leo energy is like that. So then when we have a square to Jupiter, let me tell you, some people are getting a little bit too in over their heads, okay, with the squares to Jupiter. And I've seen displays of that, you know, because as a lot of you guys who follow me know, I watch a lot of YouTube and I follow people on social media. So you can see them live and like what they're doing and what they're talking about in real time. And you can see how everything is affecting them as far as like the planetary transits, if you know their chart or whatever. But still, just the energy in the air, I've seen some people just kind of be a little too big-headed when they're talking and be like, you know, nobody can mess with me. I am all this and I'm all that, you know, or like they used to say back in the day on Ricky Lake, I'm all that and a bag of chips, okay? Like people are acting a little too much like that. When they're usually very humble people, like the pompousness of it all that can come with Leo energy in general is being magnified by Jupiter. So that's something to kind of think about, to maybe keep in mind, to stop yourself from doing or participating in or acting out as, you know. And with this eclipse, I think it's saying, yeah, go for things, feel confident in your talents, feel confident in yourself, feel beautiful, like, you know, feel good about yourself and everything. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there, but do not do it in a way that's too much, you know, that and don't overestimate things. Don't think that everything's going to work out in your favor when you're not checking all the facts, you're not checking all the details, you're not looking at the small picture. Leo is about doing it big. Like I said, it's a sign that rules like show business, you know, showing off, being talented. But maybe there's people that could be like showing off their talents and stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, I got this, but maybe they didn't practice or rehearse enough, or maybe they didn't prepare enough, and then they're going to like fail and fall flat on their faces, you know, because they just really thought their heads just ballooned up, like, you know, like they could barely stand up, you know, they can barely even balance their giant head right now. So the eclipse may show people, wherever Leo is in your natal chart, how you may have the potential to be like that. So you need to make sure that you're humble, but that you still have faith and belief and optimism, of course, and confidence in yourself. But there has to be a balance to it. You know, it has to be in levels. So, you know, the square to Jupiter is telling you that with eclipses, we can see very exciting opportunities, right? I've already seen people posting about them on social media, exciting opportunities coming to them. And oh my gosh, guess what? I was just offered this position to blah, 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 blah. Or I was offered an opportunity to work with da, 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 da. Well, especially when Mercury's retrograde, things can be retracted. Okay. And so because of that, maybe people can get too excited about things, about agreements and contracts and opportunities, but then they're like depending so much on it, and they're not thinking of the consequences of, well, what if this doesn't go through? What if this doesn't happen for me? So then, you know, maybe they're like planning things out based on this opportunity. And then what if they pull out, like the whoever gave them the opportunity backs out of it. Oh, you know what? Never mind. We already blah, 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 blah. I've been already seeing that happen to some people. You know, they get all hyped about something and then it's like, oh, never mind, you know. So whatever happens with the eclipse for you guys that's major, I would say don't. My dad used to tell me this saying all the time. He used to say, don't count your chickens before they hatch. And, you know, of course, when I was younger, when he used to tell me that when I was a teenager, I'd be like, oh my gosh, eye roll, you know, dad and his little corny sayings. But I totally get it. What that means is, if you don't know what that means, what it means is don't get too hyped about something before you know if it's really going to follow through. And my dad used to tell me that about finances, about money, because I would be thinking, I'd be like, oh yeah, I just got this job and I'm getting paid such and such an hour, and I think I'm supposed to be working blah, blah, blah hours. So I think I'm going to be getting this much. Okay. So then I would start planning out everything that I was going to, every dollar I was going to spend. And my dad would tell me that don't count your chickens before they hatch. And I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? Oh my God, whatever, Dad. But what he was saying is, what if something happens and you don't get the job, or maybe you already had the job, but it's like you don't get paid what you thought you were going to get paid, and then you've already dedicated all of your money, you've already committed to all these things that you're not even going to, who knows if you're going to really be able to commit and follow through with it, you know? So that's what this square to Jupiter from the eclipse and Mercury and all this Leo and stuff makes me think of is don't, jump before checking all the facts. We always want to do that with Mercury retrograde anyway, but Jupiter is a planet that's made of like lots of gases and hot air. Okay. You know that saying that people say, oh, they're just blowing hot air which means they're BSing, So Jupiter can be a BSer sometimes. I know we talk about him being lucky and throwing little gold coins at everybody and stuff, but sometimes he can just be, oh yeah, sure, we can have everything we want. Everything is so positive, but it's like a bunch of hot air. There's not much substance to it sometimes. So yeah, okay. So that's what this eclipse makes me think of, and so just when I go through the signs, wherever it's at for you, you may have like some grand, spectacular show that's displayed in front of you, but you got to kind of look behind the scenes, see like, is this for real? And can this really be something solid, or is it like hot air that's just going to float away? All right. So let me take a little sip before I get into all of the signs, and then I'm going to see, and I'm going to see what your comments are too. I mean, seeing what your chat stuff is saying. You have a bunch of interviews happening next week. You hope you get them. Yes, I hope so too. Good luck to you. And but just if you do get interviews, be prepared, because Mercury's retrograde. Some people can retract their offers. I've already seen that happening to some people around me, and it's been disappointing, So don't get too excited. Have faith, but don't get too hyped, still keep putting those applications out there and going to those interviews. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Have you guys heard anything about like this supposed, the lion portal or something? I kept seeing people post about it on social media, but nobody could give me like a really straight answer on what is the lion portal. I'm like, are they talking about the Leo eclipse? I'm so baffled. I don't know. But did you guys experience anything on the date of the Lion's Gate or whatever that everybody was talking about, which was on the 8th of August? Did anything special happen to anybody? Nothing really happened to me except I was working. That's why I was like, I don't have time to look too deeply into this stuff. What does this mean? Whatever, back to doing my readings and stuff. Okay, whatever. So anyhow, okay, so now let's get into the signs for the Leo eclipse, and then coffee talk. We're going to get into Kourtney Kardashian breaking up with her boyfriend. Okay. Kardashians, they're so fake. Dislike. Get out of here if you don't like it, okay? Because like I said, this is learning opportunities. This is teaching here, okay? So moving along, if you don't like celebrities or Kardashians, we don't care over here, all right? So we will look at that after I go through all of your horoscopes for the eclipse, okay? Okay, so, it had something to do with the alignment of Sirius. So was it like the sun conjunct Sirius? The star Sirius, maybe that was it. Yeah. So maybe I had like some realizations about things, where Leo is in my chart. I think so. But it didn't seem like spectacular. Like there were a bunch of fireworks going off, or I saw like some magical lion appear and giving me some gold coins or nothing. Nothing like that happened. So I don't know. Let me know if it did for you guys. Okay, so now let's get into the eclipse horoscopes for every sign. So we will start, of course, with the first sign on the wheel, the most impatient one of them all, which is Aries. So Aries people, the Leo eclipse is going to be in your 5th house, which rules several different things. It rules romance, it rules dating, it rules children, it rules any type of talent that you have and something that you are not afraid to show off, okay? So with an eclipse happening there, and also I forgot to add, this eclipse cycle is a repeat of 1999. And then 19 years before that and 19 years before that. It's like every 19 years we have eclipses happening in the same sign around the same degree, around the same date, okay? So if you are old enough to remember back then, like 1999 and 1980 and then 1961, it's really interesting. If you have been alive that long, you can look back. So it's a repeat of 1999. So anyway, 19 years from now, whatever's going on for you, where Leo rules, so I'm on Aries, so your 5th house, you may have some like stuff going on there again, okay? Okay, so you guys can have some major shifts when it comes to romantic relationships, partnerships with people that you're just kind of casually dating. You know, the honeymoon phase is the 5th house, which is interesting because, like I said, I'm going to go over Kourtney Kardashian's breakup because this definitely has to do with the eclipse, with 2 eclipses actually, but she's an Aries sun. So if you're an Aries, the eclipse in your 5th house, maybe it can symbolize in the beginning when it comes to dating. It could mean letting someone go. Kourtney just had a breakup, 5th house eclipse, hello, right? So for some of you Aries, it could be that. But remember, the eclipses are like really karmic events, okay? It's divine timing. It's supposed to happen this way, whether you like it or not. But for some Aries people, it could be a fresh, brand new beginning in their 5th house, like meeting somebody new that just really gets their heart, like the butterflies and all the excitement and everything, you know. So it could be that for some Aries people. And for some of you guys, it could mean something to do with children, like maybe some of you guys can have a pregnancy announcement or a birth announcement of your own. And some of you guys can be maybe releasing a project to the public because, or like something creative that you're working on, maybe you can release it. But there's a caution there because of Mercury retrograde. And let me tell you guys, Mercury retrograde, it really is about redoing, okay? About redoing. So some of you guys, if you are trying to do something creative and like show it off to the world, just keep in mind that there's a lot of redoing that may have to be done before you put a project out or show it off or something. Or, you know, there may be like some mishaps that go along with it if you do not take all the necessary steps, okay? But that's mostly what the eclipse is going to bring to you, Aries people. And just remember the Jupiter square, which can cause you to not look at the consequences. So if it's with romance, be sure not to jump into something without really getting to know somebody, no matter how exciting you are, no matter how excited that you are, no matter how gorgeous that they may be in your eyes, okay? No matter how much they text you, hey, how are you? Good morning, beautiful. Good morning, handsome. You got to look at the big picture. I mean, not just the big picture. You got to look at the details. You may just only look at the big picture, okay, with the square to Jupiter. So that's for Aries people. That's how it affects you guys. So good luck. So next up is Taurus. So if you're a Taurus rising, a Taurus sun, or Taurus moon, then the eclipse is going to be happening in your 4th house, which deals with your family. It deals with your home life. And speaking of that, I'm a Taurus sun, and look who's calling me, my mommy. Right on time, my mom's calling me. As soon as I said, Taurus, your 4th house, your mother, your family. I'll call her back, you know. I'm busy. I'm working right now, Mom. So anyhow, you can have some major I hope it's not a major family thing she's calling me about, but we'll see. So it could be like a major family shift and change that you guys may be going through, Tauruses. For some of you guys, because eclipses can bring really big events, maybe it's moving, maybe it's selling a home, maybe it's buying a house. I have a couple who are friends of mine, and I think they may be one of them may be a Taurus rising or something, I believe. And they are signing was it a lease or a mortgage? I don't know. They're signing something because they just bought a new beautiful ranch home. And I'm like, oh, I'm so envious, but I'm so happy for you guys at the same time, because they now have a property with land that's gorgeous. And I'm like, yay. So some Tauruses, you guys may be going through that. Now, remember the effects of eclipses, we can see them up to 6 months after the exact eclipse date. So if on the 11th, you're a Taurus and you're like, where's my beautiful house? You said I'd be getting a home. It could be in the next 6 months. Okay, so fear not. So some of you guys can be moving or planning to move, or maybe this is going to give you at least a realization about where you call home and what it means to you, what home means to you, and is where you're living now truly home to you? And if not, what are you going to do to change that? It could be something to do with your family, like somebody moving in, somebody moving out, or you moving in or moving out of somewhere. It's just a major like family, or it could be like something to do with family members, especially maybe parental figures or like maternal figures in your family. Maybe they have like a really big life event that they're going to need you for. But remember, with the square to Jupiter and with this eclipse, if there is something involving, especially moving, a big shift in where you are going to be living, make sure you read all the fine print, especially with that Mercury retrograde, because even after the date of the eclipse moves away, we still have Mercury there squaring Jupiter, okay? And so that means things can get kind of misconstrued, and you don't want that with a major decision, like something to do with a home. Tauruses are all about comfort and security. We love for our homes to be beautiful, comfortable, and secure, right? So if you want that, Taurus, make sure you read all the fine prints, okay? Alrighty then. So let me see what you guys are saying. Oh my gosh, M. Valdez, you went through a lot in 1999. So maybe now it's just kind of reflecting back on that stuff and learning from it. Hopefully you're not repeating any of that craziness. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, guys. So next up is Gemini. So if you're a Gemini rising, a Gemini sun, or a Gemini moon, the eclipse in Leo is going to affect your third house. So actually, eclipses in the third house, I would say the third and the ninth, are like the least, they're some of the least, not threatening, but the ones that don't really bring too much drama as eclipses in other houses in your chart. The third house is more like, okay, an eclipse there, maybe some of you Geminis can be changing your ways when it comes to communicating with others. But sometimes it can be something major, like if your education is very important to you, if learning new things is very important to you, then this could be a realization like, you know what, I want to gain some new skills or some new knowledge in something, and I want to take some classes or some courses in something, So it could be that for Geminis. And the third house is also like, how you commute, how you transport around wherever you live to home. House. So it could be, so a lot of times with eclipses in the third house, I see people getting new cars, they get a new car because that's how they get around, I don't mean getting around like the Tupac song either, okay? Don't twist it, okay? I mean getting around like physically, like you drive around, you go to the store, you go to the bank, wherever, How do you get there? Even if it's by public transportation, maybe you're going to be like, you know what, instead of taking the train, I'm going to start taking Uber or Lyft. Okay. And that's like a major shift for you because it could affect other areas of life, like your finances. Eclipses bring more like the major stuff like that. So in the area of the third house, well, the third house is also siblings and cousins and other extended relatives. So maybe you can have a really big shift in your relationship with some of those or one of those people, or maybe they can have like a really big life event that you will have to be present for. Okay, now with the square to Jupiter, be sure to read all the fine print and all the details. If you're doing something major like getting a new car, getting a new computer, getting a new phone or some kind of communication device, make sure you buying them during Mercury retrograde. Any of those things I listed, buying them during Mercury retrograde is not recommended. But if you must, make sure you run through everything properly so you know what you're in for, you know what you're getting, and it works properly, okay? All right. So next up is Cancer. So if you're Cancer rising, a Cancer sun, or Cancer moon, the eclipse in Leo is going to be in your second house. This is major for Cancers because this affects your money. This affects how you earn your money, how you make your money, what you spend your money on, how you navigate your finances. How much do you put in savings? How much do you invest? How much do you spend, and on what? Wants versus needs is totally second house stuff too. So for some of you guys, maybe you could have a really big change as far as a job. Like some Cancers could be getting a new job and maybe they could be taking a step up in pay, or maybe they're taking a step down, but it's like for a good reason. Maybe it's for a good cause because they know that even though they're taking a step down in pay, they can have more opportunity within this new position to build up over time, you know? So some of you guys could be maybe accumulating a new asset that is going to cost you a pretty penny, and it's like a new financial responsibility, which can mean anything. It can mean anything, you know, with an eclipse, it could be something like big, like major. Oh, Mello says you're starting a new job. Hey, that is awesome. That's awesome. Okay, yeah. So some of you guys could be like, you know, Mello confirmed for us, starting a new job. And some of you guys could be just really making a big change in maybe it's not you acquiring a new asset. Maybe it's like getting rid of some, you know, in order to save money and have more money to spend on other things that you like. Now with the square to Jupiter, I would say for you guys, Cancers, just to make sure that if you are negotiating pay at a new job, to, you know, make sure that it's set in stone before you get too excited about it. Okay, whether that's negotiating the job itself or something to do with pay. Because with Mercury retrograde involved in the eclipse, like I said before, things could be retracted and then you could be all disappointed. You know, the second house, money, comfort, security, the material things that bring you that. Comfort and security are so important to Cancer. So, excuse me. Sorry, an eclipse in your second house can definitely affect you emotionally, like a lot of things do for you guys. But if you're uncomfortable and if you're insecure about your financial status, you know, that's really big for you guys. So you could be just doing something to make some changes there. Excuse me. One Cancer that I do know personally, they're already feeling it. They were like really pouty to me yesterday and expressing like how they feel about their own financial situation. They're like, I can't even do this. I can't even do that. And then the Venus square Saturn is like not helping, you know? And I was like, oh, it's okay. It's okay, honey. You know what? The eclipse might bring you something, you know, or just do something. I gave them suggestions like, what can you do? Like, okay, have you tried applying here or there or doing this or doing that, you know, just to try to help them out, because an eclipse, hello, if you take advantage of this energy, Cancer, you can really make some big moves happen for you financially, okay? But you got to put yourself out there. You got to apply yourself. So I was just trying to, you know, pat my little Cancer friend on the head, like, it's okay, but look, this is what you do for yourself, right? So that's what it is for Cancers. Excuse me. So for Leo, if you're a Leo rising, a Leo sun, or Leo moon, how's the eclipse affecting you guys? Well, this is in your sign. So, I mean, what can I say, Leo? What can I say? Anything can change in your life. Anything, any area, any aspect. this eclipse, if it's in your sign, the reason why I say anything, anywhere important in your life can change, it's because your sign, especially if it's your ascendant, it can make a square aspect to your midheaven, which is your career. It can also make a square aspect to your IC or your fourth house, which is your home and family. And it can make an opposition to your seventh house, which is your relationships. Okay, so that's why when an eclipse happens in your sign, that's why I'm like, oh, anything can change, anything goes, because of the angles it makes to all those other areas of your life that could possibly challenge you, but still that challenge can push you into like transformation because you want better for you. You know, you want better for your life all around. And home and family, relationships and job, career, those are like usually the most important parts of everybody's lives. Those are all the angles on your natal chart, you know, for a reason. So anything can change for you guys, Leos, anything. Now, mostly when there's an eclipse in someone's sign, a lot of times they want to make some type of changes to their appearance. Now, if it's something that's major that requires you going under the knife or like it's like a major transformation, Leo, I do not recommend that right now because of Mercury retrograde, okay? Don't want that. But maybe it's just like giving you a realization about, you know what, there's some things about my appearance or my first impression that I give to people that I really want to change. So that can mean something to do with vanity, you know, with your looks, or it can mean your style, you know, the way that you present yourself through your clothing or your style. Like, I just really want a revamp of my wardrobe. I'm just gonna clear out my whole closet and just start fresh and new with my style and how everybody sees me, the vibe I give off, you know, based on like what I'm wearing. Because Leo is a sign that always says, if you look good, you feel good. Okay, they are one of those if you look good, you feel good signs. So that's why they like to dress up and they like to look, you know, look nice and presentable, because that will affect their whole mood. Okay. So, oh, hey, what's up, Betsy? Thanks for coming through. So yeah, for Leo people, it's just changing some really big things about yourself. Maybe it's not something to do with your appearance. Maybe it's something internal that's like, wow, you know what? I realized that my behavior is this, that, or the other, or that people, they take me a certain way that's really not what I mean. So how can I change that about myself? Because like I always say, the effects of the transits, especially the major ones like full moons, new moons, eclipses, or whatever, they're not always manifested outwardly to where everybody can see and you can see, or it's like physically, like physical things out there. A lot of times it's just realizations within you. So maybe Leos, you could be realizing something about yourself. It could be like toxic behaviors in relationships that are your own or partners that you attract. This opposes your seventh house. Or like, wow, you know, my public image is going to square your 10th house. It's not where I want it to be. So what can I do about that? You know, or where I live, I'm not comfortable, you know, because it squares your fourth house. So best of luck to Leos. I'm sure you guys will pull through and pull some spectacular stunts. Okay. I have seen some Leos come out with some wonderful things surrounding this eclipse, or, you know, they've had some major like upgrades in their lives as far as their careers and people noticing them for their talents and everything. So yay for Leo people, especially if your birthday is around August 11th, like maybe a few days before or a few days after the eclipse. It can really have an impact on you big time. Okay, so next up is Virgo. So if you're a Virgo sun, you're a Virgo rising, you're a Virgo moon, how is the eclipse affecting you in Leo? So this is in your 12th house. So Virgos are really going through some like cleansing in their lives. You know, you guys are really like probably in a mood to get rid of a lot of stuff and a lot of people and a lot of different things. Some of you Virgos, Virgo is one of the signs that can really be super OCD about like things being clean and organized. And so I would imagine a lot of you guys are cleaning like crazy right now, Virgo. I would imagine a lot of you guys are doing that, and like, I'm getting rid of this, I'm getting rid of that, and oh my God, this is taking up too much space. And because Virgos, a lot of Virgo people that I know, that's what they do when they in their feelings, is maybe they'll like just dive into some cleaning, you know, and throw things out, and that gives them a sense of being refreshed and renewed in some kind of way. But so I imagine a lot of you guys are doing that. But for you guys, you know, the 12th house it's the last sign before we get to your sign. It's a sign before yours. So it's before you start a new cycle, you have to clear out an old one. You have to end an old one. So it could be the end of an era for anything in your life, Virgo. You know, that can be a relationship, even though 12th house isn't commonly associated with relationships, but it could be just the end of a cycle. Maybe that relationship was a karmic cycle and you want to end it. Okay, so it could be getting rid of that. When we have eclipses in the 12th house, a lot of times we see people getting rid of like excuse me, bad habits or addictions and things like that are toxic to them, you know, just ridding yourself of those things. And an eclipse in your 12th house can also open you up spiritually a little bit more too. And maybe if you're a Virgo, excuse me, if you're a Virgo, I would definitely pay attention to your dreams around this eclipse. I mean, I'm doing this broadcast like the day before the eclipse. So you may have already been having very prominent dreams that tell you things, but especially like on the day of the eclipse, or, you know, in the US, it's going to be happening like in the middle of the night, the really early morning. So if any Virgos have any like revelations about things that you received within your dreams, or in that in-between state between dreaming and sleeping and waking up, take them seriously, okay? Don't just take them with a grain of salt. Take them like a grain of salt. Whatever that saying is, take it seriously and jot it down. So even when you're not sleeping, though, this is a very intuitive part of your chart and of your world. So an eclipse there can really open up some like things that were hidden from you before. That can mean literally like people that had secrets and now you're finding out things, or it could just be like secrets of your existence and of the universe and your connection to all that you're just like, wow, I never realized this. Because I call it the 12th and 6th house axis, the mind, body, soul axis, mind, body, soul connection axis. So Virgos are a lot of times more concerned with like the body, the physical, you know, and how that's functioning and the health of that, and not so much on like your soul and your spiritual health, you know. So this eclipse here could be opening up some more of that to you, like, wow, I realize I need to take some time out for myself and not just go hard with like helping, you know, and responsibilities. That's not all there is to life. Now I realize there's more to life, and a lot of times we don't see it physically in front of us. It's up here, you know, and it's in here. So some of you Virgos could be going through that with this eclipse, some revelations, you know, that are more on the spiritual side. Okay. And Anka G says, you're a Virgo sun and you've been throwing things out and smudging constantly this past week. Oh my goodness, I hear you on that. This energy, and I just yanked my earring. Oh my God. I hear you on that, because even if you're not a Virgo, I'm not a Virgo. I have a 6th house sun in Mars, but I'm not a Virgo. So this eclipse is not landing like in my, well, okay, I'll get to that later. But I have been doing that, like feeling the urge to clean. Like, oh my God, I gotta clean things. Like, because of the pressure of the eclipse, you feel like something new has to happen. Something new has to be brought into your life, some changes. So because of that, it's like, you know, you feel like cleaning is the best option to make you feel that way in an instant. But then after you clean, it's like, oh my gosh, you still feel like that. It's like, well, what else? What else is there? Excuse me. So for Virgos, I would recommend looking within and not just without around you. Okay. Can you please tell me about Sagittarius? I will once we get to Sagittarius, okay? Because we do them in order. We do all the signs in orders, not by request. Okay, so next up is Libra. So if you're a Libra rising, a Libra sun, or a Libra moon, how is the Leo eclipse affecting you? Okay, this is in your 11th house. Now, another area to where I say when eclipses land here, it usually doesn't cause like major world rocking like events. But it depends on what you do for a living and things like that too. For example, if you're like a social media influencer, the 11th house is your life, okay, and your career, because it is like, that's what it rules, is social media and having an influence on people by connecting to masses of people, you know, and through the internet, especially. So if you are a Libra and that is your lifestyle, your career is like, it's related to media, social media, YouTube, Instagram, websites, you have a website for something, for business, for service, you know, an eclipse in your 11th house could be a huge deal. And maybe it can mean like a few things. It can mean a cutting off or an ending to you belonging to a group or being associated with a group of people, a group of like-minded people that you have like the same interests in. Maybe your interests and their interests don't match up anymore for some reason. So then you say, peace, I'm going to go off and do my own thing, right? Because the eclipse that we had in Aquarius on the opposite end, that was in your 5th house. That was just 2 weeks ago. That was encouraging you to build something on your own, to do something more that's like your own talents. You completely just rely on yourself, not other people to support you or boost you up, you know, or to say, oh, we as a group, we do this. Now the 5th house is like, well, me, this is what I do. This is who I am. So you had an eclipse there 2 weeks ago. Now an eclipse in the 11th could be some of you Libra saying, you know what, I'm no longer associated. Okay, I'm no longer affiliated. Or it could be the opposite. It could be joining forces and being affiliated with a group of people, a community, a network, and you finally find like a group that you belong to and you feel that real true sense of belonging, you know? And for some of you Libras, yes, it could be like you want to put a project out there, you want to, you know, announce something to the public in a major way that like sends a wave, you know, out, influences and affects everybody. Excuse me. And the 11th house is like people that can hook you up with things, you know people who know people who know people, and through that you can find opportunities. So maybe it could be some of you Libras with whatever it is. I don't care what you do for a living. It could be finding those people, the right people that can help you to obtain some sort of opportunity. Because also there was an eclipse in your 10th house of career a month ago, you know, and a lot of times people within their career, they need to have some of that 11th house stuff popping off to find the right people that can help boost them in career, you know. So that's mostly what it is for Libras. And if you're a Libra, you're not really into career or trying to make your mark on social media or anything. It could just be friendships, you know, maybe a cutting off of a friendship or finding a really great friendship that you just feel like you have those, oh my God, me too moments that Libras just love. Libras love to find people that they can say that with. So maybe it's like something along those lines. Okay, so next up is Scorpio. So if you're a Scorpio rising, a Scorpio moon, Scorpio sun, this eclipse in Leo is in your 10th house, which is your career. And it's also your public image and your social status, as we say. So for you guys, Scorpio, this could be a revelation about something to do with your career and what you do as a career. Some of you guys could have been going through it, you know. I was about to say. So I watch these funny guys on YouTube, and one of them does drag, and they have their own little lingo that's hilarious. And he says, I was going through the gigs, honey, going through the gigs. And they put out videos like every day. So I swear it's like they're my friends and I pick up on their little lingo. So I was about to say, some Scorpios may have been going through the gigs, honey, when it comes to their career. Some of you guys could have been like, even up to the date of the eclipse, just kind of going back and forth, like, should I go this way or that way? Should I quit or should I not quit and just try to advance where I'm at? Should I do this? Should I do that? It's like, oh my gosh, you know, just really major career decisions for Scorpios. And Scorpios, you know, this is an eclipse cycle that we've been in for a year and a half. So it could be like wrapping something up or completing something, or maybe there was some door that was closed for you as far as eclipses. I mean, as far as your career before with the other eclipses, now there's something opening up for you. So some of you guys can be leaving jobs. All of the water signs, this eclipse is affecting you in a way to where you could possibly leave a job. So, or start a new job or something like that. And for Scorpios, maybe it's like how people know you publicly, you know, especially if you are, once again, like somebody who's on social media or something. Like maybe you want to change your image. Maybe you want to do a whole revamp of like your website or your media pages or something, you know. For some of you guys, maybe you do have like a huge project that you want to release to the public, but Mercury's retrograde. Okay, so you may have to redo them a few times. I'm a Scorpio rising. I've had to do exactly that. It's been highly, highly annoying. Oh my gosh. There are projects I'm like, this is going to be huge, or this is, oh my gosh, I can't wait to put this out there. And it's like, I hate it, or I missed a step, or oh my gosh, I forgot to add in this detail, or something like that. And then you got to go back and redo it again. And then also, you know, there's a square to Jupiter in your sign, Scorpio. And Scorpios are already, because Jupiter is in their sign, they're feeling like really hungry for opportunity and stuff like that. But once again, you know, a square from the eclipse to Jupiter in your sign can be like, hey, Scorpio, you need to slow your roll. You need to hold your horses. Don't jump after things without looking into the details. That can mean for you guys, if a really great career opportunity or an opportunity to be recognized publicly or something like that comes up for you. So an eclipse in your 10th house, though, it can also mean something to do with your own authority, you know, the authority that's given to you. It could mean parenthood, too. Now, when there was an eclipse in my 10th house, in like the, you know how I said this is a repeat of 1999? Well, after this eclipse in 1999, I became a mom, and I had my oldest son, who was born like a couple months later, you know. So that was me becoming an adult, parenthood, an authority figure, you know. That's the 10th house right there. So for some of you guys, it could be something along the lines of parenthood or responsibility, huge responsibility with the 10th house. It's not always career, because I know not everybody has a career, not everybody works, you know. So it could be that. Okay, so next up is Sag. So Sagittarius rising, sun or moon. The eclipse in Leo is in your 9th house. So Sag, this is your home territory, because you guys are the 9th sign on the zodiac wheel. Okay, so this could mean some kind of Sagittarian things, Sag things you guys are doing that are major. Like it could be planning a really big trip, and a lot of you guys are already always going on trips, right? But I mean like a meaningful one, you know, something that's meaningful to like your soul, like on a soul level. Maybe you're returning back somewhere that's really important to you because Mercury's retrograde. And so maybe it's like going back, like, wow, you know what, I'm going to go back to my home country or to the state or city I was born in, that's like far away from where I live now, or, you know, and it's a really impactful trip that you would take. Okay. Now, some of you guys, maybe it's nothing that's like nostalgic, but it's like, wow, I've never been to in the world, and I really want that experience, and it means a lot to me. So I'm going to make plans to do that, or, you know, sometime within the next 6 months. For some of you guys, for Saggies, if you are in school, it could be completing school. Like, I have a Sag friend, and I think she is going to be completing school during this eclipse cycle, and, you know, with that hitting her 9th house. And but some of you guys could be starting something to do with school, though, too, like making a major decision to say, you know, I want to further my knowledge of something in a really big that can affect me as far as like the career that I have, or something with my life path, you know. Let's see, you're desperate to relocate and you're a moon in Sag. Yes, 9th house can sometimes show relocation, like relocation to a new country or something like that. And some Saggies, a lot of Sagittarians really love different cultures and experiencing life through different cultures or different places in the world, different environments. A lot of you guys do. If you're a Sag and you're not like that, it's probably because maybe your Sagittarius stuff is in the 4th house or 2nd or somewhere where you like to be more comfortable and stay in the same spot. But generalizing Sagittarius, this is your stuff, okay, is experiencing things. So because of that, because of that, maybe you guys are just really craving big life experiences that open your mind in general. It doesn't have to be a trip, doesn't have to be travel, doesn't have to be school. It's just something that really just opens your mind and you just want more. Like 9th house energy, the 9th house, a lot of times it's all about finding the meaning of life. You know, Saggies are always seeking that out. Like, what's the true meaning of life? And they can really get deep into stuff like that. So maybe you are looking for some opportunity to find that. True Love One says, yes, I want a magic carpet. I hear you on that, Miss. Are you a Miss or Mr. Sag Moon? I hear you on that, Sag Moon. You want a magic carpet, huh? Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. That can bring like more opportunity and something like fun and exciting in your life is a magic carpet. So I hope you get one. Okay. So yeah, just like a really huge experience that is like makes you feel like you're living, Sag. You know what I'm saying? You're not just existing, because you guys know that there's so much more to life than just like existing in a little bubble. So whatever can give you that, and it's like major, you're going to be seeking that out and probably, hopefully finding it with this eclipse, okay? So next up is Cappy. So if you're a Cappy sun, a Cappy rising, or Cappy moon, this eclipse is going to be in your 8th house. So that is the money and the resources that you share with other people. And that can mean anybody. That can mean like if you are living with somebody, you're shacked up with somebody, you have a spouse or whatever, then it can mean like whatever bills you pay with them. There's something that's got to change, okay? There's something that has to change there. It could mean that your partner's income increases or maybe it decreases. And then that means that they're kind of more codependent upon you, Cappy. And some Cappies are down with that, some are not. So maybe there's just like some kind of financial shift there for you guys. And then the 8th house is also like if you were trying to get approved for some sort of a loan, or like a major purchase, or like a credit card, or some sort of line of credit, then maybe the eclipse can bring you some answers to that. Now that means either yes or no. Okay, I'm not promising you guys that you're going to be approved for some big old business loan or anything. I can't guarantee that, especially with Mercury retrograde and then the square to Jupiter as well. Okay, the square to Jupiter is saying, like I was talking about earlier, don't count your chickens before they hatch. And I know Capricorns usually love like those old sayings. So I'm sure you guys really know what that means. To make sure that you are, if you're taking up an opportunity that has to do with finances, read all the fine print and learn all the details. Okay, make sure you know all the details before you take that that loan or whatever. Because there could be like a retracting of a deal or a retracting of something too with Mercury retrograde. So it could just be opening up a door to something financial for you. But also the 8th house is like having a deep soul bond with somebody. So if that's been missing in your life too, well, maybe this can bring some opportunity in that area too over the next 6 months. So that's what it is for Capricorn. It could be financial. It could be like maybe a really strong bond with somebody relationship-wise, strengthening one that already exists, or maybe finding a new one, a new opportunity to have that bond with someone, you know? Just to keep it simple, that's what it is, okay? To not make this like 2 hours long. So next up is Aquarius. So if you're an Aquarius rising, Aquarius sun, Aquarius moon, then this could be, this eclipse is landing in your 7th house, relationship stuff. Aquariuses have been having the most, like, you guys have been one of the signs that have been having the most relationship shifts and changes and adjustments and all that stuff, right? You've had eclipses hitting your 7th house for the last year and a half. You've had a full moon eclipse in your sign 2 weeks ago, full moon between you and others, you know, you and Leo. So this could be like a finalizing something relationship-wise, like a relationship decision, you know, whether to stay with somebody, whether to break up, whether to be engaged, whether to be married, whether to divorce, you know, whatever is major that can happen with in regards to relationships. That's what it is for you Aquariuses. But don't leap before you look because of the square to Jupiter, okay? Because Jupiter can rule, once again, kind of only seeing the big blown up picture on the big screen, and the fantasy and the opportunity and the optimism of it all. But what about the consequences of what if things don't go your way? You know, what about the details that can tell you the things to look out for to make sure that this opportunity actually goes your way and doesn't go in the other direction? So that could be in regards to a relationship, you know, a portal is open there, a door could be opening, maybe somebody will fall through, that's your dream person, Aquarius, but maybe they could be too good to be true, you know, you just need to kind of have discernment, lots of discernment with this eclipse, because like I said earlier, at the same time, Venus and Saturn are square each other, that could be checking you, some reality checks when it comes to relationships, okay? So it's all relationship stuff. I mean, not much more I can say with that. It could be a partnership too that's not romantic, like an opportunity to collaborate with somebody, like a business opportunity. So you need to have discernment with that too, even if something big comes up that's exciting, okay? So last but not least is Pisces. Gemini Niels, you said you're a Scorpio and you're late. When will you finally get your dream job? Well, I already did Scorpio, and the eclipse is affecting your career for Scorpios, okay? And so this could be over the next 6 months, you could have that opportunity. So good luck to you, fellow Scorpion, good luck to you. Okay, so last but not least is Pisces. So if you're a Pisces rising, a Pisces sun, or Pisces moon, then this eclipse is in your 6th house, which is your work, which is your job, your duties that you have every day. That could be either work or personal. So like I said earlier, the water signs are looking for new jobs, looking for opportunities to make more money. They're looking for opportunities to be recognized for their, you know, their talents or their career. You know, they want some sort of change there, maybe switching careers, switching jobs, quitting them. You know, any of that stuff can be going on right now. So for Pisces people, same thing. You know, maybe you guys can finally get that job that you've always wanted, or just a job in general. Maybe you guys have been jobless for a while and it's like, oh my God, I really need a job. And then bing, you know, hopefully with the eclipse, something pops up. But, you know, I do have a Pisces very close to me, and they have been job hunting, and they've had interviews to where, I think they've had a couple interviews now to where it's Mercury's retrograde, right? So it's like, yay, you got the job. And then it's like, wait a second. No, you don't. We retract our offer. And that's been like so disappointing, right? So maybe some of you Pisces have been going through that. So maybe with the eclipse, it could actually bring you a solid opportunity. But once again, make sure you're not getting too hyped and too excited about the offers. And you're still putting yourself out there. You're still like interviewing. You're still applying for things, because you never know with the square to Jupiter. You could get all excited and then it's like that it's snatched away. They snatched your bag of coins away that you thought you had, you know? So just something major with job for Pisces people. And Pisces people, you guys could be doing some major like cleaning and stuff too, or cleansing of something in your world. And my moon sign is Pisces, and let me tell you, like, I've had the urge this whole entire week to just do some major cleaning. But I've had so much work because as an astrologer, you know, when the eclipses happen, people kind of, we're more in demand, you know what I'm saying? People want some insight and everything, and I've got a lot of readings, especially eclipse readings, on my plate. So I've been looking around at like all the cleaning that my Pisces moon wants to do, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I really can't wait to clean. Like I feel the urge to clean. Then this morning I woke up, I'm like, you know what? Work's gonna have to wait for a little bit because I can't stay. I need this way. I feel an urge to clean. Like cleaning is is the process of cleansing, right? And newness, especially a new moon. This solar eclipses are new moons. With new moons, you want newness in your life. So if there's no like other major like opportunities or something coming to you to bring something new, then maybe you can make something new happen by your house looking new, your environment looking new around you, and cleaning it up to feel that sense of like a cleansing. And it is kind of a ritual. You know, people will ask me all the time, do you recommend any rituals for the eclipses? One day I will have the time to be totally into that, to be able to recommend stuff like that. But for right now, I'm like, hey, whatever normal, regular, schmegular people stuff you tend to do when you feel like something is brewing and something new has to happen, that's healthy stuff, okay? Healthy for you, good for you stuff, all right? Do that. Do those things. Like I said, I'm a 6th house sun and Mars, and disorganization and mess really bothers me. And how I felt today as a Pisces moon is like, I gotta clean. And that makes me feel a little bit better about, okay, I'm in the spirit of the newness of the new moon eclipse, you know? So yes, change is needed. Thank you so much. Yeah, so whatever you can do to make you feel like something's changing. The 6th house is your immediate environment. That could even mean like your desk at work, Pisces, you know, just like, even if you're not getting a new job or anything majorly new is happening at your job, maybe just cleaning your desk, reorganizing it, or asking if possible, hey, can I move to a different desk, or can I move to a different area or something at this job that I still want to stay at, you know, just some newness there is needed. Now, the 6th house is also health. So some Pisces can be coming to some realizations about, hey, you know what? I need to start a gym membership. I need to start a new diet. I need to start something new with your health that you want to take charge of and you want to happen for you, okay? But like I said, you know, remember the square to Jupiter? Don't overdo things, okay? Because the 6th house is also habits and routines that you have, and regimes. So don't overdo anything. So that is it for the eclipse forecast, you guys. And now we're going to step into the coffee talk. Before that, and if you're tuning out because you are annoyed by celebrities and Kardashians and all that stuff, it's cool. Still love you. See you next week. All right. And don't forget that I do offer readings on astrolada.com, and I have some webinars on there too. So the links to those are below. So go check them out. Hit me up if you would like a personal reading. I think the eclipse readings are still up, but you know what? Actually, I think we're going to be taking them down soon, but they may still be up on Astrolada. So if you still want an eclipse reading and you want to know how they're going to affect you over the next 6 months, the Leo eclipse and the Aquarius one, if they're still up over there on our site, then go check it out. I cannot guarantee that I can get it to you like tonight or tomorrow, you know, because I have so many of them that everybody was so like cool to request from me, you know. But if you still want to know and you don't mind being patient and waiting a little while to receive it, then I may still have it up. But I still have all my regular stuff up too. Okay, so now let's look into, let's step into coffee talk, which is, we are looking at, I like to use celebrity relationships as examples so we can see how astrology works. And, you know, when people go through breakups and separations and stuff, what can we see in their charts as far as like, why did this happen? What brought this along? Okay. So, we are looking at Kourtney Kardashian. She was dating some male model, and it looks like they just had a very public breakup. So what's going on in their astrology that can show that? We shall see. And Kourtney is 39, and her little mortal boyfriend is 25. Okay, so some people might blame it on that, on like age difference, but you know, it could or couldn't be. We're not in their lives. We don't know. But we will look at things astrologically and see what was the deal? You know, what's going on now, what's been going on, and what caused the breakup. Okay, so let me do a little screen share for the people. All right, so let's pull up the chart here, do a little screen share. Oops. Okay. Well, all right now. So this is Kourtney Kardashian's chart. You guys know I usually use Astro Theme. Sometimes astro.com or AstroDienst has celebrity charts on it too. So, but I usually just type in, whenever I type in celebrity stuff, Astro Theme is usually the first one to pop up, okay? So, we have Kourtney's chart here, and they say that they verified BC. I think BC means birth certificate. So that should be pretty legit. So Kourtney, what's going on in her chart to show relationship stuff happening? Okay, well, first of all, let's look at the relationship between her and Uranus. I think that's how you say his name. He's quite the gorgeous creature, may I add. Oh my God. And he has those Taurus eyes, like with the long eyelashes. I'm a Taurus and I don't have long eyelashes, maybe because I've curled them and mascaraed them to death for the last 20 years. But he has, like, you know how cows will have like those eyes and the eyelashes? He has eyes like that. And a lot of other things that are very, very nice looking. Okay. So let's look at their relationship really quick. So Kourtney is a Pisces rising. And, you know, relationships, we look at a woman's Mars, we look at their sun to see what they're attracted to. She's got both an Aries. So it means she's attracted to Aries type of men. And Aries is a sign that usually they are concerned with their physical bodies being very fit. And her little model man does fit that. And also we look at the fifth house. Okay, we look at the fifth house of, you know, dating and what makes them really happy. She has it in Cancer. And so she may like a man who has some Cancerian traits. Seventh house is Virgo, which means maybe she likes a guy that has some Virgo in the mix, or maybe sometimes I see with Virgo in the seventh or Gemini in the seventh that people like younger. They like to date younger. I think Scott Disick is younger than her too. And that's because they're both ruled by Mercury. And Mercury is a planet that does rule youth and being, very young and acting very young and stuff. Youthfulness, innocence, all of that is Virgo, and also Gemini. So she does like to date younger, and that's apparent here. Now, what is their synastry like? Okay, so he doesn't have an astro theme, and I just made a chart for him really fast so we can see. Okay, so he is a Taurus sun. We don't have his rising sign, but he's a Taurus sun and a Taurus Mercury. And okay, that's cool and everything, you know, but he has, what's their connection though? He has Venus at 6 degrees of Aries. What does she have in Aries? She has Mercury. Okay, so her Mercury's conjunct his Venus. That can mean some good things for like conversation, communication, and stuff like that. But also, oh my gosh, move. Look at her Mars, 8 degrees of Aries. Mars, which is male, masculine energy she's attracted to, 8 degrees of Aries. His Venus, which is women, female energy he's attracted to, 6 degrees of Aries. Very close Venus and Mars conjunction. We see this a lot in couples who they're very physically attracted to one another. This indicates super crazy physical attraction, okay? And another thing that can indicate that is, look at, this is his Lilith. He has Lilith in Pisces at 22 degrees. So they say that Lilith in a man's chart, if he's hetero, that is the type of woman that he desires, which is like uninhibited desire, you know, like kind of a wild, like really passionate, you know, feelings. And that where his Lilith is at is what can show the type of woman that gives him that type of feeling of attraction. And if a woman's anything, like if especially personal planets are conjunct his Lilith, then you can tell that they have a very like crazy physically attracted relationship So his Lilith, 22 degrees of Pisces. Oh my gosh, look at her Venus, 24 degrees of Pisces. Her Venus conjunct his Lilith. Yeah, okay. And that can make people bring like a really like a what's the proper word I'm trying to use? Very passionate, like maybe darker, passionate side out of them sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Other than that, you guys, to be quite honest, I didn't see, and if we knew his rising sign, we would be able to see more. But honestly, other than that, I don't see very strong synastry between the two people. Okay, I there's not too many other points in their chart that can show like really strong, loving energy as far as their attraction and something like long lasting and very grounding. You know, I don't really see. Oh my God, go away, stop. I don't really see that. Her Saturn's in Virgo. Yeah, her Saturn doesn't really hit anything of his. His Saturn doesn't really hit anything of hers. It's just, you know, I don't really see a lot of like strong long-term relationship aspects. Now, here's what I think was an issue with them breaking up based on what's been publicly known to us, where I'm like, oh yeah, well, this kind of confirms it. Okay, so check it out. He's a Scorpio moon, right? So he's a Taurus sun and Mercury and a Scorpio moon. Taurus and Scorpio are two of the signs that could be the most jealous of them all. Okay. Taurus is very possessive, and so is Scorpio. Taurus can think of their partners as another physical possession of theirs, physical thing that they own. Wait, hold on. Oh my God, is the screen share not working? Oh, geez Louise. I hate you, Mercury. I'm so done with you. I'm so done with Mercury. Oh my God, I'm so done with Mercury. I'm so done. I hate you, Mercury. Everything in my career that I put out, I have to redo over and over again. Okay. So now let's go back. Let me go back to their charts. Jeez Louise. And now you guys are seeing me looking at the freaking thing. Okay. Now, okay, so here is Kourtney's chart. And as I was saying, her Mars is here, okay? And it conjuncts his Venus, okay? And then here's his Lilith, 22 degrees of Pisces. And here is her Venus at 24 degrees of Pisces, okay? And then other than that, like I was saying, I don't see anything too strong. I didn't look at her Saturn is in Virgo. He doesn't have any, it's not hitting anything of his. None of their other planets or points really hit anything significant. If we knew his births, nothing is hitting it in his chart. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see a very strong like love relationship here. I see it mostly being strong physical attraction, and for good reason. When we see them both physically, I mean, she is absolutely gorgeous, and so is he. Oh my gosh, he is very spectacular to look at. So anyhow, here's what I was trying to explain. Then I realized, oh my God, screen share is not working. Mercury sucks. Okay, now take a look at this. This is his moon in Scorpio and his sun and Mercury in Taurus. Now, Taurus can be possessive and think of their partners sometimes as the same thing as like a physical thing that they own, their stuff. Tauruses are really, they're really protective over their stuff, okay? And they can act that way towards their partners. Like, you're a thing that I own. Scorpio is very possessive too, but over the soul of a person. Like, I possess your soul. I own your soul, okay? Mind, body, and soul, and everything belongs to me. That's how Scorpios are. It's like mad. I know some very close to me, and I've seen them in action, and they don't play around with their relationships now, okay? And what happened was, a couple weeks ago, Kourtney posted a picture of herself on Instagram, and she was kind of showing off her bum a little bit, you know, like kind of proud of her body. I mean, she's 39. She's had several children with 3 or 4 kids or something, and her body looks good. And she's like, this is the last year of my 30s. I am milking it for all that it's worth. Okay. So she put out a little picture that's a little revealing, and he posted a comment underneath it like, oh, really? So this is what you have to do for likes and attention? Oh, okay now. I think he did that twice. And now we're hearing that they're broken up. So I really do think that her being on social media had something to do with it. He's on social media too. And, you know, he flaunts his body out there too as a model. I mean, he's always shirtless with all the abs hanging out and all that stuff. But I think maybe it could be because of maybe the area of the world that he comes from has something to do with it too. It could be a cultural difference too, you know, and or maybe the way he was raised, no matter where he's from, like culturally, maybe he was raised a certain way to where he sees men and women in certain roles, and he sees her as like, also like, you're a mother, like you're a mom, you're supposed to have more respect for yourself, you know. I don't know. It could be anything. But I definitely think that Scorpio and Taurus jealousy came out, okay? And who knows what events transpired after that, but that was probably like the kicker, you know what I'm saying? The icing on the cake. Very jealous. And apparently he was like spotted partying with some other women or something right after that, and then she was spotted with her ex, Scott, after that. So if they are so quick to just like jump and be like hanging out with other people and seeing photographed with other people after their breakup, that kind of tells me right there that, yeah, their relationship was mostly physical. It was mostly a physical attraction, that Venus and Lilith and that Mars and Venus, you know, because other than that, like what if you guys see anything else in their chart that's like really connecting points that show to a strong, loving bond and chemistry, let me know, because usually I look for like nodal contacts, like, you know, north and south node connections with the other person's chart, or maybe like Saturn, which can be a Debbie Downer energy with a relationship, but at the same time, it can be an anchor that holds you guys down, or, you know, like moon conjunct sun, or, you know, there's a lot of things that you can see, or aspects, other aspects, but I don't really see it, you guys. So I'm not really surprised at the breakup. It's sad, you know, it's really sad when people break up, but you know what? Sometimes, especially around eclipses, this is karmic. Oh, so hold up. One last thing. Oh my gosh, go away. Okay. So one last thing, what brought this on? Well, in his chart, I can't really tell because I don't have his ascendant, but in her chart, based on the sun being in Aries, well, number one, the eclipse in Leo from Aries, Leo is 5 signs from Aries, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's her 5th house from her sun. And we had an eclipse in Cancer a month ago, a solar eclipse in Cancer. And for Pisces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's their 5th house as well. So there have been like a double of eclipses hitting her 5th house, which have brought some changes to a romantic relationship. I wouldn't even call that relationship one that you would find as like a 7th house thing or an 8th house thing, because like I said, it looked mostly like a physical attraction, a really fun romantic thing. His moon is in the sign of her 9th house, the 9th house of travel and adventure. And yeah, there were mad pictures of them traveling around together and stuff. So it looked like they had a lot of fun together. But once again, I know I'm beating a dead horse already, but I didn't really see a super strong bond, you guys. It just like lasting relationship stuff, it just wasn't there. And who knows, you know, with Venus going retrograde in you know, a couple months, Venus retrogrades can bring relationships back from the past. You never know. And then plus a breakup during a Mercury retrograde can also mean that somebody can change their minds about a relationship too, you know. So that's it, you guys. That's all I had to share about this this situation and what we can see as far as like, you know, relationships and eclipses and what they can bring and the eclipses can give it and they can take it away. So you never know. There's not a strong foundation there, and an eclipse comes along. It's like that Tower card. You know, there's a lightning bolt to come striking down on that area and can just send everything away and just make a really huge unexpected shift there. So that's it, you guys. Thank you so much if you're still here. Thank you for hanging with me today on this Friday. And in some places, it's now Saturday. And I will be here next week. Unless the eclipse brings me something crazy, knock on wood, I should be here next week. And we'll talk more about that Uranus and Saturn trine, as well as some other stuff. So thank you guys. Have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful week. Don't forget, you can hit me up for a reading on astrolada.com, and the info is below. So I will see you guys next time in my next broadcast. And yeah, have